What if the last dragon in the world was never meant to hatch, until the forest burned? In a deep, untouched forest, far away from any human footsteps, life moved in quiet harmony. Tall trees whispered in the wind. Rivers shimmered under the golden sun. And every creature knew its place. But hidden beneath the roots of an ancient tree, there was something no one remembered. An egg. Old, cracked, and forgotten by time. The animals had seen it for years. It's just a stone, the squirrels would say. Or something that never lived, the deer believed. No one knew the truth. No one remembered dragons. One cold morning, the silence of the forest was broken. Heavy footsteps. Sharp voices. Metal clinking against metal. Humans. Hunters. They had entered the forest. The birds flew high in panic. The rabbits hid beneath the ground. The deer ran deep into the woods. But the hunters kept moving forward. Searching. Watching. Taking. Then, they found it. The egg. Half buried beneath roots and dirt. One of the hunters picked it up. "What is this?" he muttered. Another laughed. "Looks useless." They turned it around, knocking on its surface. "Maybe there's something inside." They tried to break it. They hit it with rocks. They struck it with tools. They slammed it against the ground. But the egg did not crack. Not even a line. Frustrated, one of them growled. "Worthless." And with all his strength, he threw it. The egg flew through the air. Spinning, falling. Until it landed far away. Deep within the forest. Unnoticed. Unwanted. Alone. The hunters didn't stop there. They captured animals. A young deer. 2 rabbits. A frightened fox. Crying, struggling, helpless. They were taken away. And as the hunters prepared to leave, one of them turned back. He lit a torch. A cruel smile crossed his face. "Let's see how this forest survives this." He dropped the fire. At first, it was just a spark. Then, the dry leaves caught flame. The wind carried it. The fire began to grow. The forest trembled. Smoke filled the air. Animals ran in every direction. The sky turned dark with ash. The flames spread, faster, stronger. Unstoppable. Deep within the chaos, the old egg lay where it had been thrown. Still. Silent. Forgotten. Until the fire reached it. Flames surrounded the egg. Heat pressed against its ancient shell. For the first time in hundreds of years, something inside moved. A faint glow appeared beneath the cracks. A soft pulse, like a heartbeat. Stronger. Brighter. Alive. The fire roared around it. But the egg did not burn. It awakened. Inside, the last dragon finally opened its eyes. The shell began to tremble. Cracks spread across its surface. Light escaped from within. And then, crack. Something was about to be born. The shell broke apart. And from the glowing egg, a tiny creature slowly emerged. Small wings. Soft scales. Bright, curious eyes. The last dragon was born. The fire had already passed. The forest was scarred. But still alive. Ash covered the ground. Smoke lingered in the air. And in the middle of it all, The little dragon stood alone. He took his first steps. Unsteady, confused. Everything was new. The trees. The wind. The sounds of the forest. He looked around, searching. For something familiar. For someone like him. But there was no one. No other dragons. From behind a burned bush. A small rabbit watched him. Carefully. Quietly. The rabbit tilted its head. "What are you?" it whispered. The little dragon didn't understand the words. But he felt the tone. Not fear, not yet. Just curiosity. The rabbit slowly stepped closer. The dragon didn't move. Didn't growl. Didn't run. He simply watched, with gentle eyes. "You look alone," the rabbit said softly. And so, the rabbit stayed. Days passed. The forest slowly began to heal. And the little dragon began to grow. The rabbit brought him food. Berries, leaves, small fruits. At first, the dragon didn't know how to eat them. But he learned. Slowly. The other animals began to notice. A strange creature wandering the forest. Not fur. Not feathers. Not anything they had seen before. The birds whispered from above. The fire brought it, they said. The squirrels chattered nervously. It doesn't belong here. The deer watched from afar. It feels different. The little dragon tried to approach them. But every time he did, they stepped back. They avoided him. They left. He didn't understand why. He meant no harm. He just didn't belong. One day, as the dragon sat beside the rabbit, a shadow passed overhead. A black crow circled above them. Slowly, carefully. Then it landed on a branch nearby. Old. Silent. Watching. The crow's eyes were sharp. Ancient. As if it had seen things long forgotten. It studied the dragon. Every movement. Every breath. Then it spoke. "That is no ordinary creature." The rabbit looked up. "What is it?" it asked. The crow spread its wings slightly. And said, "That is a dragon." The forest fell silent. The word echoed. Dragon. The other animals gathered at a distance. Whispers spread quickly. A dragon. But they're gone. They don't exist anymore. The crow nodded slowly. They were feared, powerful, and rare. It looked directly at the small creature. "This one is the last." The animals stared. Some in awe. Some in fear. Some in doubt. The little dragon tilted his head. He didn't understand the word. But he felt their eyes. Different now. Heavier. A bird suddenly laughed. "A dragon," it chirped. "That thing can't even fly." The squirrels joined in. "It barely moves. It eats berries like us." Even the deer shook their heads. A real dragon would be strong. Dangerous. Powerful. The little dragon looked at his wings. Small. Weak. He tried to flap them. Once. Twice. Nothing happened. He jumped. But he couldn't lift off the ground. The laughter grew louder. "Look at him. He thinks he can fly." The dragon stepped back. Confused. Hurt. Then he tried something else. He opened his mouth. And pushed with all his strength. Nothing. No flame. Not even a spark. More laughter. A dragon without fire. That's not a dragon. The little dragon lowered his head. For the first time, he felt something heavy inside his chest. The rabbit stepped closer. They don't understand, it said gently. But the dragon only looked at the sky, where birds flew freely, where he could not reach. That night, under the quiet stars, the little dragon whispered softly, "I am a dragon." But even he was starting to doubt it. The days passed, but the whispers never stopped. A dragon that cannot fly. A dragon with no fire. The little dragon tried to ignore them. But deep inside, the doubt grew stronger. One morning, the forest grew quiet again. Too quiet. The birds stopped singing. The wind felt wrong. And then, heavy footsteps returned. The hunters were back. This time, they came prepared. More traps. More ropes. More cages. The animals scattered in fear. "Hide!" cried the deer. "Run!" shouted the birds. The rabbit trembled beside the dragon. They came back, it whispered. The little dragon froze. Something inside him stirred. Fear. But also something else. The hunters moved deeper into the forest. Searching. Tracking. Then, one of them stopped. "There!" he shouted. All eyes turned toward the small creature. The dragon. The hunters approached slowly. Their eyes filled with excitement. "What kind of animal is that?" one asked. Another smiled darkly. "It's not just an animal." They surrounded him. The dragon stepped back. He tried to run. But a net flew through the air. It wrapped around him. Tight. Heavy. Unbreakable. He struggled. He pushed. He tried to escape. But he was too small. Too weak. The rabbit screamed. "Let him go." But the hunters didn't listen. They lifted the dragon. Trapped. Helpless. "We're taking this one," a hunter said. "It'll be worth something." The dragon looked around. At the trees. At the sky. At the forest that was his only home. And for the first time, he was afraid of losing it. As they began to walk away, something unexpected happened. The forest did not stay silent. A bird swooped down from the sky. Sharp and fast. It pecked at the hunter's face. "Ah!" the hunter shouted. Then another bird joined. And another. And another. The sky filled with wings. Squirrels rushed from the trees. Climbing the hunters. Biting their hands. Pulling at their clothes. The deer charged forward. Strong and fearless. They rammed into the hunters, forcing them back. Even the smallest animals joined. Mice, hedgehogs, foxes. All fighting. All together. The hunters stumbled. Shouting. Falling. Losing control. "Get them off," one yelled. The rabbit ran forward. Fast. Determined. It reached the net. And began to chew. The ropes were thick. But the rabbit didn't stop. The dragon watched. His eyes wide. They came back for him. All of them. The same animals who once laughed. Who once turned away. Now. They were risking everything. The ropes began to tear. Thread by thread. The dragon felt something inside him shift. A warmth. A strength. A spark. The net broke. The dragon fell free. Run, the rabbit shouted. The dragon didn't hesitate. He ran. Through the trees. Past the chaos. Away from the hunters. The forest protected him. Hid him. Saved him. Behind him. The animals continued to fight. Until the hunters finally retreated. Defeated. Silence returned. The dragon stopped. Breathing heavily. The rabbit caught up to him. "You're safe," it said. The dragon looked back. At the forest. At the animals. For the first time. He understood something. He was not alone. And maybe, just maybe, he was never meant to be weak. Far away. Hidden behind the trees. One of the hunters watched. His eyes narrowed. "That creature," he whispered. "We're coming back for it." The forest had won the battle. But something greater was still coming. The forest was quiet again. But it was no longer the same. The animals no longer whispered. They no longer laughed. They watched. They waited. And they stood, together. The little dragon had changed. Not just in size. But in spirit. Every day, he climbed higher rocks. Every night, he stared longer at the sky. He tried again. And again. And again. He flapped his wings. Harder each time. At first. Nothing. Then. A small lift. Just for a moment. He fell. But this time. He stood back up. The rabbit watched proudly. "You're getting stronger," it said. High above. The old crow circled. "You were never weak," it called out. "You were waiting." Days turned into weeks. The dragon grew. His wings stretched wider. His steps became stronger. His eyes, brighter. But something still slept inside him. The fire. One evening. As the sun painted the sky in gold and red. The dragon stood alone. He closed his eyes. And remembered. The flames. The night he was born. The heat. The power. He took a deep breath. And pushed. At first. Nothing. Then. A spark. Tiny. Weak. But real. The dragon opened his eyes. Surprised. He tried again. This time. Fire. A small flame flickered. The rabbit gasped. "You did it." The dragon stepped back. His heart racing. Again. Fire. The flame grew larger. Again. Fire stronger. Hotter. Brighter. The fire was waking up. But at that exact moment. The ground trembled. The birds flew up in panic. The deer froze. The wind carried a familiar scent. Smoke. The hunters had returned. And this time. They brought more. More fire. More traps. More anger. "Burn it all," one shouted. "If we can't take it, we destroy it." Flames spread quickly. Faster than before. The forest cried out. Animals ran. Trees cracked. The sky darkened again. The dragon stood still. Watching. His home. Burning. His friends. In danger. The rabbit looked at him. "Please, it whispered. The dragon closed his eyes. And something inside him finally awakened. A surge of heat rushed through his body. From his chest to his wings to his breath. He opened his eyes. They glowed. He spread his wings wider than ever before. And then he flapped. Once. Twice. And then sparkles he rose. The dragon lifted into the sky. Higher. Higher. The wind carried him. The flames reflected in his glowing scales. Below him, the forest burned. Above it, a dragon flew. The hunters looked up. Frozen. What is that? One whispered. The dragon inhaled deeply. And then, fire, 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 roar, whoosh. A massive stream of fire burst from his mouth. Not wild. Not destructive. Controlled. Powerful. He pushed back the flames. Cutting through the fire. Protecting the trees. Saving the forest. Again. Fire whoosh. Again. Fire whoosh. The fire began to fade. The hunters stepped back. Terrified. It's a dragon, one screamed. Run. They dropped everything. And fled. The dragon circled the forest. Guarding it. Watching over it. Until the last flame disappeared. Silence returned. But this time, it felt different. Safe. The dragon slowly landed. The animals gathered. One by one. The birds bowed their heads. The deer stepped forward. The squirrel stood still. And the rabbit smiled. You saved us, it said. The dragon looked around. At the forest. At his home. At his family. He was no longer alone. He was no longer weak. He was what he was always meant to be. A dragon. From that day on, no hunter ever returned. No fire ever spread. No fear ever ruled the forest again. Because high above the trees, with wings wide and fire strong, the last dragon watched over them all. Moral. Sometimes, what makes you different is what makes you powerful.